Lieutenant Maya Clark stood on the observation deck of the starship Astraeus, her heart fluttering with excitement. As Earth's first diplomatic envoy to the Andromeda Coalition, she carried both hope and nerves in equal measure. Beyond the reinforced glass, the alien world of Paravas shimmered under its twin suns, one pale gold, the other soft lavender. The airlock doors opened with a soft hiss, and Maya adjusted her uniform, smoothing the badge of Earth's emblem. She stepped onto the landing platform where Ambassador Rian awaited her. The ambassador, tall and solemn, inclined his head. "Welcome to Paravas, Lieutenant Clark." His voice was calm, measured like water flowing over stones. Maya returned his bow. "Thank you, Ambassador. I am honored to be here." They walked together across the platform, the ground beneath their boots a polished crystalline surface that reflected the suns in fractured patterns. Strange spires of gleaming metal rose around them, curving upward like the ribs of a colossal creature long since passed. Paravan citizens, tall, slender beings with opalescent skin, glided past, their large almond-shaped eyes curious but polite. Their attire was simple yet elegant, flowing robes in shades of violet and green, accented by metallic belts that gleamed in the light. Ahead lay the grand palace, its arches supported by columns carved to resemble drifting clouds. At its entrance stood two royal guards, their helmets shaped like bird heads, crests fanning behind them. Ambassador Rian nodded once, and the guards parted silently. Maya swallowed, stepping through into a vast hall. The interior glowed with soft bioluminescent plants. Vines with shimmering leaves climbed walls of polished stone, and floating lanterns drifted gently overhead. The air smelled of sweet nectar and ozone. Maya's breath caught at the beauty of it all. She was guided forward until she reached the throne room. There, seated on a dais of white marble, was the alien princess. Maya's eyes widened. The princess was more beautiful than any portrait or hologram could have captured, skin like pale moonlight, hair cascading in waves of silver, and eyes the color of amethyst. She wore a simple gown of liquid silk that rippled with every subtle movement. At her side lay a small creature, part feline, part plant, purring softly, its tendrils of fur shifting colors like a living kaleidoscope. Princess Aranya rose, and for a moment time slowed. She walked down the steps with grace that made Maya's heart beat faster. When she spoke, her voice was melodic, each word like a note in a song. "Lieutenant Maya Clark of Earth," she said. "It is my pleasure to meet you." Maya bowed deeply, finding her voice, though it trembled slightly. "Your Highness, the honor is mine." She straightened and offered her hand. Princess Aranya smiled and took it. Her touch was cool, like a breeze through autumn leaves, and Maya felt a spark of warmth spread through her chest. The princess guided Maya to a circle of low benches arranged around a shallow pool at the room's center. Ambassador Ryan stayed a respectful distance behind. Servants emerged, carrying trays of crystalline glasses filled with a pale blue liquid. Maya raised her glass at the princess's gesture. "To friendship between our worlds," she said. Princess Aranya echoed, "To friendship." They drank. The liquid was cool and sweet, like honeyed water, and Maya felt a calm wash over her nerves. The princess's eyes twinkled. "Your journey was long. Do you find Paravas pleasing to your senses?" she asked gently. Maya took a moment searching for the right words. "It is unlike anything I have known," she replied. "It is beautiful, full of life and wonder. Even the air feels alive." She watched as the princess's lips curved into a pleased smile. "I am glad it pleases you," Aranya said. "Paravas is our home, born from the harmony of nature and spirit. We hope to share that harmony with your people." They spoke of Earth, its oceans, forests, cities, and people. Maya described mountains that scraped the sky and deserts that stretched like golden seas. Princess Aranya listened with wide-eyed fascination, leaning forward when Maya spoke of humanity's art and music. In turn, Aranya told Maya of Paravan festivals, where flowers bloomed in light, and where citizens danced beneath auroras that painted the night sky with living color. As they talked, Maya noticed how easily laughter, danced between them. When Maya mimicked the elegant bow of a Paravan child, Aranya giggled, the sound like wind chimes. Maya laughed too, and for a moment the palace wall seemed to melt away, leaving only two souls connecting across the void of space. Suddenly, a soft alarm sounded. Maya's communicator glowed. She touched it discreetly. "Ambassador," she said, "I must check a reading on my suit. It's probably just a calibration issue." She rose smoothly, bowing again. Princess Aranya nodded with concern. "Of course. Take your time." They stepped aside into a small antechamber. Maya adjusted her collar and examined the readout. "It's nothing serious," she said, forcing a calm smile. "Just a hiccup in the temperature control." Aranya placed a slender hand on Maya's arm. "Are you well? Do you need earth medicine?" Concern shone in her eyes. Maya shook her head. "No, Your Highness, thank you, I am fine." She stepped closer, lowering her voice. "I'm honored by your kindness." Aranya's cheeks flushed a soft rose. She cleared her throat. "Your presence here honors me, Lieutenant." She gestured back toward the throne room. "Shall we rejoin the ambassador?" Maya nodded. "Yes, let us return." Back in the hall, they found Ambassador Ryan waiting. He offered a respectful nod. "The Royal Council will convene shortly. They wish to discuss the treaty." Maya swallowed, glancing at Princess Aranya, who gave her a reassuring smile. As they walked toward the council chamber, Maya marveled that she had barely noticed the grandeur of the palace. All she could think of was the warmth of the princess's hand and the sound of her laughter. In that moment, Maya knew that her mission held promise far beyond politics. It could become a true partnership between worlds, and perhaps a bond that went deeper than any treaty. The doors of the council chamber opened before them. Maya took a steadying breath, squared her shoulders, and stepped in, ready to begin the work that would shape the future of two civilizations, and eager to learn more about the mysterious, radiant princess at her side. The council chamber's doors slid open with silent precision. Lieutenant Maya Clark and Princess Aranya entered side by side, Ambassador Ryan following closely behind. The room was vast, lit by soft, ambient panels set into the walls. Around a long oval table sat 12 Paravan council members. Each wore robes of deep blue or silver, and their faces held expressions of polite anticipation. At the head of the table, Elder Tolan rose. His skin, like burnished copper, seemed to glow in the chamber's light. His eyes were old and knowing. "Welcome, Lady Clark, welcome, Princess Aranya," he intoned. "We gather to shape the future of Paravas and Earth. Let us begin." Maya bowed her head respectfully. She took a seat beside Princess Aranya. She felt a flutter of nerves but also excitement. This was the heart of diplomacy, the place where words could build peace or break it. Elder Tolan turned to Maya. "Lieutenant, Clark, please present Earth's treaty proposal." Maya took a deep breath and stood. She held a slim data pad in her hand. "Thank you, Elder Tolan. On behalf of Earth, I propose these key points: mutual sharing of technology for clean energy, cultural exchange programs to foster understanding, and joint research in medicine and agriculture." She tapped the pad, and a holographic projector lit up above the table showing simple icons: a solar panel, 2 hands shaking, and a sprouting seed. A murmur went around the table. Elder Tolan inclined his head. "Your proposal is clear and fair. Princess Aranya." "Your thoughts?" Aranya rose gracefully. Her voice filled the chamber, gentle yet strong. "Earth's offer honors Paravas. We too seek harmony and knowledge. We accept the technology sharing and joint research. For cultural exchange, however, we must consider the safety of our sacred sites." She pointed to the icon of the sprouting seed. "We ask that any visitors to our planetary grove, a forest of living crystal, enter only under Paravan guidance." Maya nodded. "That is a reasonable request. Earth envoys will follow Paravan protocols at all times." A council member, Councillor Vesh, spoke next. His tone was cautious. "The Galactic Trade Accord prohibits unilateral sharing of certain Advanced technologies, especially energy converters. How will Earth ensure these converters do not disrupt our planetary balance? Maya considered. Earth proposes a joint oversight committee, equal numbers of Earth scientists and Paravan scholars to approve each converter design and test it in simulation before any installation. Vesh nodded thoughtfully. That gives me confidence. Another member, Councillor Rai, leaned forward. And what of language barriers? How will our peoples truly understand each other? Princess Aranya smiled. The Paravan Language Institute will open its doors to Earth students. In return, Earth will share its universal translator libraries. We will establish a language academy here, and one on Earth. Maya felt relief that the princess had anticipated this. Yes, we will station translators both on Paravas and on Earth's new embassy ship, the Astraeus II. Elder Tolan raised a slender hand. It seems we have consensus. I propose we vote on the treaty today. He looked to Princess Aranya, who nodded. Very well. All in favor? Every council member raised a hand. Elder Tolan smiled, then looked to Maya. Lieutenant, Clark, please sign the treaty on behalf of Earth. Maya stepped forward. A crystalline podium awaited with 2 styluses set in silver stands. She dipped her stylus into a luminous inkwell and carefully wrote her name. The ink glowed briefly before settling into deep blue. She returned to her seat, heart pounding with satisfaction. Princess Aranya followed, writing her name with equal grace. The chamber lights dimmed for a moment, then brightened. Elder Tolan spoke again. The treaty is ratified. Let this day mark a new dawn for our worlds. Soft applause echoed through the hall. Maya glanced at Aranya, whose eyes shone with triumph. Across that table they had built more than an agreement. They had laid the foundations of trust. After the meeting, Maya and Aranya withdrew to a smaller lounge adjacent to the council chamber. Comfortable benches ringed a low table, and crystal vases held luminescent blossoms. Servants brought trays of light, spiced pastries. Maya accepted, one savoring the warm sweetness. Aranya watched her with curiosity. You handled the council well, Lieutenant. I admire your calm. Maya smiled sheepishly. I had a good teacher, and you were wonderful too. Your words carried such gentle strength. Aranya's cheeks tinted softly. Thank you, I was proud to stand with you. She sipped from a porcelain cup filled with fragrant tea. Tell me more about Earth's festivals, she added. My people are enchanted by your stories. Maya leaned forward, animated. On Earth, there is a celebration called the Lantern Festival. People set paper lanterns of flame and send them floating into the sky to honor their ancestors. She made a small, glowing gesture with her hand. The sight of hundreds of lights drifting upward, it is both beautiful and hopeful. Aranya's eyes glimmered. It sounds like our festival of light, when bioluminescent flowers bloom at night. She paused, then added softly, perhaps one day we can experience each other's festivals together. Maya's heart warmed. I would like that very much. They talked late into the Paravan evening, an hour that on Paravas fell around what on Earth would be midnight. They spoke of art and poetry, of dreams for their peoples and of personal hopes. Maya learned that Aranya had always cherished the simple joy of walking through her planet's glowing groves, while Aranya discovered Maya's love of Earth's oceans, whose depths held creatures of unimaginable form. At one point, Aranya excused herself to collect a musical instrument from a nearby alcove. She returned carrying a small, harp-like device with strings that shimmered like starlight. This is the Celestara, she explained, placing it on her lap. With delicate fingers, she plucked a chord. The sound was clear and ethereal, like moonlight falling on water. Maya closed her eyes, entranced. When the melody ended, Maya opened her eyes to find Aranya watching her. I composed that for today, the princess said softly, to remember this moment. Maya felt her throat tighten. It's beautiful. I will treasure it always. Aranya's smile was warm but slightly shy. I hope we will have many more moments like this. She paused, then admitted, I admit I feared that treaty talks would be cold, full of numbers and rules. But meeting you has made this more personal. Maya reached out lightly and brushed a strand of silver hair behind the princess's ear. Agreements between worlds need a personal touch. We must remember the people behind the politics. Their eyes met, and for a heartbeat neither spoke. Around them the lounge felt hushed and sacred as if time held its breath. Then, Aranya quietly stood. I should return to my duties, but I look forward to what comes next. She held out her hand. Maya took it, feeling the cool silk of Aranya's sleeve beneath her fingers. As do I, Your Highness. They parted, each carrying a gentle glow in their hearts. As Maya walked back to her temporary quarters, she thought of the treaty's words, now alive with promise, and of the princess's song, still echoing in her mind. In that moment, Maya knew that their worlds were linked not just by ink on a page but by understanding, respect, and the beginnings of friendship that might one day become something more. The morning light on Paravas was gentle and warm, filtering through the crystalline canopy of the planetary grove. Lieutenant Maya Clark walked carefully along the winding path, her eyes wide with wonder. Around her, stalks of luminous flora arched overhead, glowing in soft hues of turquoise and rose. Tiny motes of light drifted lazily between the leaves, like fireflies dancing in slow motion. Princess Aranya walked beside her, guiding Maya's hand to touch a petal of the sky vine. Feel how it hums, Aranya whispered. The vine vibrated under Maya's fingertips, a gentle thrum that seemed alive. Maya smiled in delight. It's like music, she said. How do you not grow tired of this beauty? Aranya laughed. Quietly. I never tire of it. Paravas is our gift, and our responsibility. Every growing thing here depends on our care. She paused by a pool of liquid crystal, so clear Maya could see the smooth stones at its bottom. These waters hold memories of our planet's birth. We must protect them. Maya nodded, thinking of Earth's fragile oceans. I understand. She bent to scoop a handful of water, then let it ripple back into stillness. Your world is precious. They rounded a bend and arrived at a small pavilion built of living wood. At its center stood a delicate console humming with energy. Paravan caretakers in green robes worked quietly, adjusting glowing glyphs. One looked up and bowed. Your Highness, Lieutenant. We detect an anomaly in the West Quadrant. Energy readings are spiking. Aranya exchanged a worried glance with Maya. Show me. She approached the console, fingers tracing the glyphs. The display shifted to a three-dimensional map of the grove. A section of the forest blazed with bright pulses. That section is close to the winter lotus field, Aranya said. If the energy continues, it could burn the flowers to ash. Maya frowned. Can we reroute power? The caretaker shook his head. Not without risking harm elsewhere. The energy surge is coming from deep underground. We must investigate at the source. Aranya turned to Maya, determination in her amethyst eyes. Lieutenant, will you help me? Maya straightened. Of course. She tapped her comm badge. Ambassador Ryan, this is Clark. We have a situation in the planetary grove. I need the environmental drone team and a secure path through the West Quadrant. The response crackled back, an affirmative tone and an ETA of 20 minutes. Aranya led Maya deeper into the grove. The light dimmed as the canopy thickened, and the air grew cooler. The hum of the vines deepened into a low, resonant bass. Maya kept close to Aranya's side, trusting the princess's sure footfall. Soon they came to a clearing where the ground was scorched and the plants wilted, leaves black at the edges. In the center, a fissure in the crystalline soil glowed with molten light. Maya's breath caught. It looks like lava. One of the caretakers, a tall paravan with silver hair, shook his head. Not lava, it is living crystal in breakdown. If not contained, it will spread and destroy the entire grove. He held out a scanner. This device can stabilize the crystals for a time. We need to close the fissure before sunset, or the damage will be irreversible. Aranya nodded. Lieutenant, help me set the stabilization charges. She knelt by the fissure, her robe brushing the scorch marks. Maya crouched beside her. Together they placed small hexagonal devices into slots carved in the crystal edges. Maya's hands were steady, though her heart pounded. She felt the weight of responsibility, not just for a treaty, but for this living world and the princess who loved it. As they finished, the scanner beeped urgently. Devices are active, but the surge is increasing too fast. The caretaker's voice was tense. We need more power to hold it. Aranya glanced at Maya. Your suit carries an energy cell. It can boost the stabilizers for a short time. Maya hesitated only a moment before nodding. She removed the cell from her belt and handed it to the caretaker, who slotted it into the control panel. The fissure's glow dimmed and the hum softened to a gentle pulse. Aranya exhaled with relief. She stood and brushed ash from her sleeve. You saved the grove, Lieutenant Clark. Maya offered a tired smile. I just followed your lead. Aranya's eyes softened. You did more than that. You showed courage under pressure. Maya felt a thrill at the praise. Thank you, Your Highness. She straightened, glancing around at the caretakers already setting to work repairing the damaged plants. How did this happen? The caretaker frowned. An ancient power node beneath the grove has become unstable. We sense it awakening after centuries. Aranya's brows knit together. A power node, like a heart for the planet's spirit. She looked at Maya. I must go to the archives. I need to learn how to calm it. Maya stood beside her. Then let's go together. Hours later, they stood before the Grand Archives, a vast domed building whose doors were carved with flowing scripts. Inside, the air smelled of parchment and ozone. Shelves stretched upward to vaulted ceilings, filled with scrolls that glowed faintly. A single archivist guided them to a secluded alcove. Only the princess and her chosen envoy may read these, she said, handing a scroll sealed with crystal wax. Aranya broke the seal and unrolled the scroll. The text shimmered as she read. This tells of the Celestine node, a source of life energy that pulses once every millennia. It must be soothed with a convergence ritual. She looked up at Maya. We need two things, the song of renewal and the breath of earth. She traced a finger along the scroll. The song is lost to time, but the breath of earth remains in your people's music. Maya's heart leapt. The Lantern Festival song, she said. It's taught in every school on earth. Aranya nodded. Yes, the melody resonates with planetary energy. She rolled the scroll carefully. We must return to the pavilion and begin the ritual before the node awakens fully. They hurried back to the grove as dusk approached. Paravan caretakers had cleared the damaged area and set up a small stage of living wood. A ceremonial circle of stones awaited them. Maya placed one hand on a carved glyph in the center. Aranya stood opposite, her eyes closed in concentration. Maya drew a breath and began to hum the Lantern Festival melody. Her voice was soft at first, but she found the tune easily. As she sang, Aranya joined in, her clear soprano weaving above Maya's tenor. The trees around them pulsed with light in time with the music. The caretakers formed a ring, their hands linked and began to sway. When Maya reached the chorus, she sang louder, her voice echoing in the grove's vast openness. The fissure at their feet glowed brighter for a moment, then dimmed. The living crystal around it began to knit itself closed, shimmering back to health. Maya glanced at Aranya, whose face shone with joy. Together they sang the final notes. A soft wave of energy rippled through the grove. Flowers reopened their petals. Leaves stood tall once more, and the fissure was sealed. Its edges, smooth and pristine. The caretakers cheered, and the ambient light brightened as if in celebration. Maya exhaled, trembling with relief. Aranya moved to stand beside her, offering a hand. Maya took it, feeling the familiar spark of warmth. "We did it," Maya said, her voice catching. Aranya smiled, her cheeks glowing. "Yes, we did." She raised Maya's hand and pressed it to her heart. "You have the heart of Paravas now, Lieutenant." Maya's eyes widened. "And you have a piece of Earth's spirit." Aranya's smile deepened and she bowed her head in respect. As darkness fell and the grove glowed with renewed life, the two stood together, soldier and princess, envoy and beloved, bound by music, courage, and a promise that their worlds would heal and grow together. The bond they forged that day would carry them through the challenges yet to come, as Earth and Paravas walked forward into a shared future. Dawn broke over the Paravan plains, painting the sky in soft gold and rose. Lieutenant Maya Clark stood beside Princess Aranya on a gently rolling hill, both gazing toward the new energy converter's tower in the distance. The sleek structure, of gleaming metal and crystalline panels, caught the morning light. It was Earth's gift to Paravas, a clean power source that would light cities and drive research facilities without harming the planet's delicate balance. Maya took a steadying breath. "Today we switch it on," she said, her voice calm but excited. Aranya nodded, brushing a stray lock of silver hair from her face. "Our worlds will share this light," she replied softly. Around them, a small team of Earth engineers and Paravan scholars prepared instruments and safety scanners. As they walked down the hill, caretakers spread strips of woven grass to mark a path. Paravan citizens gathered in respectful distance, their robes swirling in the soft breeze. Some brought woven banners of violet and green. Others carried small lanterns symbolizing hope. The air hummed with anticipation. At the base of the converter tower, Ambassador Rian awaited them. He wore a simple white tunic, the Earth emblem, stitched over his heart. "Lieutenant Clark, Your Highness," he greeted, inclining his head. "All systems report green. We're ready when you are." Maya checked her datapad one last time. 0-point calibration is complete. Shall we proceed? Aranya stepped forward and placed her hand on the converter's control plate. Its surface pulsed softly under her touch. Maya joined her and the two pressed the activation pads together. A low hum rose from the tower. Light traveled like veins through the crystalline panels, flooding out into cables that led to the nearest city. A series of soft clicks echoed along the connections. Then, without warning, the hum cut out, leaving an uneasy silence. Maya frowned at her datapad. "Power flow interrupted." She tapped a command. "Systems are reporting an external override." Aranya's brow creased. "Override, but the converter is sealed." The engineers exchanged anxious looks. Suddenly, alarms blinked on a nearby console. A red pictogram of a crack appeared over the converter's core. Sparks of blue energy flickered along the metal ribs. Maya stepped back. "Containment field. Dropping to 50%, she reported. "We need a diagnostic." A Paravan engineer, her robes dusted with dew, tapped into a handheld scanner. She gasped. Someone has tampered with the core's matrix, a foreign glyph etched deep into the metal. Aranya's face hardened. "This is sabotage," the crowd murmured. Maya placed a steadying hand on Aranya's arm. "Stay calm. We can fix this." Aranya drew a breath. "I will alert the Security Council. You coordinate the repairs." Maya nodded and tapped her comm. "Ambassador, secure the site. No one in or out until we know who did this." Within minutes, Paravan guards sealed the area. Maya and Aranya withdrew to a small command tent pitched nearby. Engineers clustered around a holodisplay showing the converter's inner workings. Maya crouched beside them. "Show me the glyph." The engineer projected a glowing symbol, two interlocking spirals crossed by a jagged line. Maya studied it. "This isn't Paravan, and not Earth standard. It's older." Aranya leaned in. "My people have legends of the Lost Circle, a group that feared change, believing any foreign device would poison our planet." Maya nodded slowly. "They would sabotage new tech to protect Paravas. No violence, but enough to stop progress." Aranya closed her eyes. They disappeared centuries ago, but their followers may still exist in hiding. Maya tapped commands on her datapad. We can track sensor logs for unusual movements, but we need someone on the inside. She looked at Aranya. You know the palace grounds better than anyone. Can you help me find where they might be? Aranya stood and straightened her robes. Yes. I know hidden paths among the hills west of here. Follow me. Maya followed as the princess stepped out into the cool morning air. The engineers and guards trailed behind. They climbed a narrow track where silver grass whispered against their legs. Paravan birds flitted overhead, their calls echoing softly. Maya studied the hillside. Do you think they're here? Aranya pointed to a cluster of boulders near a rocky overhang. The lost circle always met under stone shelters. Their creed was to use nature's cover. Maya approached the rocks, crouching to examine the ground. She spotted faint footprints, small, bare, and quick. They've been here recently. From the overhang, a low chant reached their ears. Maya motioned for silence. They crept closer. In the shadows under the rock, a half-circle of figures in plain dark robes knelt around a small brazier. The brazier's flames glowed violet. The robed figures chanted in a muted Paravan dialect, pleading for protection of the earthborn machines. Maya signaled to the Paravan guards. They stepped forward with hands raised. Stay where you are, one guard commanded. The robed figures froze, hands still. Aranya stepped between Maya and the brazier. Please, she said gently, we do not mean to harm Paravus. This converter will bring clean energy, not destruction. The chanting stopped. One of the robed figures rose. His face was lined and stern. Princess Aranya, he said. His voice was worn but firm. The circle has watched you. You welcomed the Earth envoy, but this artifact pulses with a force we cannot control. Aranya bowed her head. I understand your fears, but the planet's heart speaks to me. We have sung together and saved the grove. This technology is part of our future if used with care. The elder of the circle hesitated, then spoke to the others. We cannot destroy the device, but we will not allow it to run unchecked. He turned back to Aranya. Teach us how it works so we may guard it alongside you. Aranya's heart leapt. Yes. We will work together. Maya stepped forward. I will help train the Circle's scholars on the converter's safety measures. We can build joint teams to monitor it day and night. The elder looked from Maya to Aranya. Finally, he nodded. Then let the Circle be reborn, a circle of guardians, not saboteurs. Back at the converter tower, Maya, Aranya, and a group of Circle members, now in official green and gold robes, stood together. Engineers fitted fresh power cells and recalibrated the containment field with Circle scholars guiding each connection. Maya activated the converter again. The hum returned, rising in a steady tone. Light traveled down the cables as before, illuminating the nearby city in a ribbon of energy. The Circle members cheered softly, touching the converter's base in reverence. Aranya smiled at Maya. You turned fear into trust. Maya grinned back. Only because you showed them respect. They clasped hands for a brief moment, sharing a quiet triumph. That evening, Maya and Aranya returned to the palace for a small celebration. Lanterns glowed under archways, and citizens offered gifts of woven flowers. Music filled the halls, Paravan, lyres blending with earth drums in a lively dance. Maya stepped onto the floor with Aranya, joining hands as the song began. As they moved together in simple steps, Maya glanced at Aranya. The princess's eyes shone with joy and pride. Maya realized that every challenge had brought them closer, to each other and to the people they served. Across the dance floor, Counselor Vesh and a Circle Guardian exchanged respectful bows, a symbol of unity born from conflict. Maya felt the future unfurl before her like a ribbon of light. With Aranya by her side, she knew they could face any challenge. Together, without violence, with respect and open hearts. Tonight was not just a celebration of technology, but of two worlds learning to trust and grow as one. Morning light shimmered on the crystal spires of Paravas as Lieutenant Maya Clark stood on the palace balcony beside Princess Aranya. The great festival of unity was about to begin, an event to celebrate the bond between Earth and Paravas. Colorful banners fluttered in the gentle breeze, and the distant hum of lantern preparations filled the air. Maya breathed in deeply. "Today marks a new beginning," she said softly. Aranya smiled, her silver hair catching the light. "Yes," she agreed. "Our peoples will join their hearts tonight." They descended into the palace courtyard, where musicians tuned their instruments. Earth drummers stood next to Paravan lyre players, forming a circle around a grand stage of living wood. Citizens gathered, dressed in robes of green and blue, carrying lanterns crafted from local crystal and earth paper. At the center of the courtyard, a raised dais awaited the two guests of honor. Ambassador Ryan stepped forward, raising his hands for silence. "Friends of Paravas and Earth," he began, "tonight we celebrate not only our treaty and our technology, but the friendship and understanding we have built. Let this festival light our path forward." A cheer rose from the crowd as Maya and Aranya joined hands on the dais. Aranya lifted her lantern, its facets glowing pale lavender. Maya held hers aloft, the paper glowing soft gold. At a nod from Aranya, they released the lanterns together. Thousands of lights drifted upward, weaving between the crystal spires and into the sky. The twin suns cast long shadows as the lanterns rose, turning the evening sky into a tapestry of gold and violet. Maya felt her heart swell. She glanced at Aranya, who watched the lights with a peaceful smile. Once the lanterns floated high, music began. Paravan lyres wove gentle melodies that blended with earth drums. Maya and Aranya stepped onto the stage, leading a dance of unity. Their steps were simple, side by side, hands touching at the fingertips, yet each movement carried meaning: respect, trust, and hope. As they danced, Maya looked into Aranya's eyes and saw her own joy reflected there. Around them, citizens danced in small circles, laughter ringing clear. Children ran with streamer wands that left trails of shimmering light. Elder Tolan watched from the edge of the crowd, his copper skin glowing in the lantern light. He raised a hand in blessing. When the song ended, Aranya led Maya to a small pavilion at the courtyard's edge. Inside, a low table held 2 cups of nectar drawn from Paravan star blossoms. The blossoms glowed gently, their scent sweet and calm. Aranya poured the nectar into their cups and handed one to Maya. "To us," Maya said, lifting her cup. "To friendship," Aranya echoed, clinking her cup softly against Maya's. The nectar was cool and sweet, filling Maya with a calm warmth that spread through her chest. She smiled. "I never imagined a day like this when I first arrived." Aranya's gaze turned reflective. "Neither did I. You showed me the strength in Earth's spirit, and I showed you the beauty of Paravas." She placed her hand over Maya's. "Together we have made our world stronger." Maya's eyes shone. Yes, together. They sat in comfortable quiet, watching as the festival continued beyond the pavilion. Musicians played new melodies that combined human rhythm with Paravan harmony. A troupe of Paravan dancers wove through the crowd, their robes trailing glowing ribbons. Earth children giggled as they chased after floating orbs of light released by caretakers. Suddenly, a soft chime announced the next ceremony: the planting of the harmony seed. A crystal pedestal held a small seed that pulsed with light. Aranya and Maya approached. The seed was said to bind Earth and Paravas forever, growing into a tree whose branches would stretch to both worlds, symbolic and real, for saplings would be sent to Earth's forests. Aranya placed her hand on the pedestal. "May this seed unite our worlds in peace and growth," she intoned in the Paravan tongue. Maya repeated the words in English, her voice carrying across the courtyard. Then they both turned the seed gently into the soft soil embedded in the pedestal. The ground shivered and a sprout of pale green emerged instantly, glowing at its tip. Gasps of wonder rippled through the crowd, as the sprout unfurled delicate leaves that shone like polished jade. Music rose in joyful harmony. Maya and Aranya stepped back, proud and moved by the living symbol of their partnership. As the night deepened, the festival wound down. Citizens drifted toward their homes, lanterns bobbing in the warm breeze. Maya and Aranya walked side by side toward the palace, their hands still linked. The soft glow of the unity tree's leaves lit their path. At the palace gate, Aranya paused. "Lieutenant Clark, will you join me for a last walk beneath the eastern spire?" Maya nodded eagerly. They followed a path of smooth white stone past gardens of bioluminescent blooms. Aranya stopped before a tall spire etched with ancient glyphs. "This spire marks the boundary where our worlds meet in spirit," Aranya explained. She placed her hand on the glyphs and they glowed softly. "Whenever I touch this, I feel Earth's heartbeat." She looked at Maya. "And when you touch it?" Maya placed her hand beside Aranya's. She felt a gentle warmth spread up her arm as if two worlds were whispering through the stone. She smiled. "I feel hope." They stood together in silence, feeling the unity of their peoples humming through the spire. Then Aranya turned and embraced Maya. It was a quiet, heartfelt gesture. Soldier and princess, envoy and princess, friends, and perhaps more. Maya felt the truth of their bond in that embrace. When they parted, the clock in the tower chimed midnight. "I should return to my quarters," Maya said with a smile. Aranya nodded. "And I will see you in the morning for the departure ceremony." Maya's heart fluttered. Yes, tomorrow. They exchanged a final warm look before Maya walked down the path alone, filled with joy and anticipation. Above, the unity tree stood tall, its leaves shimmering in the moonlight, a living promise of what they had built together. Back in her quarters, Maya placed her lantern on a low table. She sat by the window, looking out at the palace gardens and the distant lights of the unity tree. As she drifted towards sleep, her thoughts were with Aranya and the future they would share. Two worlds, one bond, and endless possibilities. Outside, Perva slept under the twin moons, its new unity shining like a beacon in the silent night.